Hi, and welcome to Season 2 of Big Sound Small Town, the podcast that spotlights the talented and diverse musicians in small towns and communities. This season we're branching out to include the community of people who make it possible for musicians to be able to perform their music, the producers, the recording engineers, the venue owners, and many others. And as always, the small town musicians. Remember, small town doesn't mean small talent. Hear their stories. Just a footnote on the Chad Day podcast. As Chad and I were sitting up to record this podcast in the green room of the Earl Scruggs Center, out in the main room, we heard music, which I thought someone had turned on, but when we stepped out there, nope, it was live music. It was Darren Aldridge, Mike Lynch, Doug Rogers, Dean Jinks, and Leonard McSwain. And they were playing up a storm. But nevertheless, as the professionals that we are, we went in and did our podcast. So the music you hear in the background was made by these guys. Also, all the banjo music on this was played by Chad early in the morning on a Saturday. Thanks. Today on Big Sound Small Town, we're in the Earl Scruggs Center in beautiful Shelby, North Carolina, and I'm with banjoist Chad Day. Welcome to the show, Chad.
Thank you.
All right, now, banjo's your thing, right?
It is a passion.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You told me that you've been playing like how long?
30 years.
30 years.
I'm getting old.
Yeah, that's a long time to be. Were you young when you started playing?
I was 14 years old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Was that your first instrument?
I had took a few piano lessons, but didn't really stick.
Right.
So I'd say so.
Well, what made you pick the banjo? I mean, there had to be a moment.
There's a story that goes along with it. As a child, I was always around the banjo. I've got had a great grandfather that played banjo.
Oh, okay.
And I was always around it. He'd be on the front porch. Wasn't really something that stuck with me at that time, but I was
exposed to it.
Right, right. And then my dad took some banjo lessons, and from time I remember as a child hearing him play a few songs from time to time, and he kept the banjo. So there was one.
So there was a house your whole life for the most part.
That's right. But I never really had an interest at that time. When I was 14 years old in middle school, a buddy of mine named Jacob Wellman had brought a banjo to the school to play at a talent show.
Right.
I think there was a girl going to clog or dance or something, and he was going to play for her. So I'd talked to him and said, man, I got a banjo. There's a banjo. My dad's got one at home. And, being young banjo player, of course, he was nerding out. I got to know what it is.
Right.
We exchanged numbers. He called me that night. And I got it out. Well, come to find out, it was a Gibson banjo. And of course, I still don't know what I got at the house.
Exactly then, yeah.
But he was taking lessons, and you know, having a banjo that was of substance, I was like,
Right.
well, you know, maybe it kind of sparked a little fire.
Right.
So he was taking lessons from a guy named Roger Holland out of Ellenborough at that
Yeah.
time on Tuesday nights. And I told Mom and Dad, you know, I think this might be something I want to do. So Mom, she put me in the car the next Tuesday and drove me
Take
up
you up
there.
there?
Yeah.
That's great, because parental support's big with any instrument.
Oh, listen,
anything.
my whole life I've been blessed with support.
That's
from
great.
all the family.
That's good.
It had to be rough because there was probably a 3-year period that you couldn't tell what I was doing.
Oh yeah, I was a fiddler, so I know that people around me. Yeah.
I remember Mom would come. I would lay down on the bed and play and fall asleep practicing.
That's cool.
And she'd come take the banjo and put it away.
It's not many 14-year-old boys decide that a banjo is something they're going to play.
Well, and I guess, you know, being buddies with Jacob there, we would go to the same lesson back to back, and
Right.
it almost, I won't say it was a competition, but it was it was motivation. I
Yeah,
guess you might
motivation.
say.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, and so after 3 years, I got to where I could make out what I was doing, and
How long did it take you, just out of curiosity, to get your roll right?
you know, that was the one bit of help I did get from Dad. He said, you know, you got to make sure you got the same amount of space in between each note.
Right.
So, man, I don't know. There must have been nights where all I would do is just sit there and practice them things.
I mean, people don't realize that don't play banjo. Even people that fingerpick guitar don't realize there's a difference.
Well, so much a banjo, and I'm assuming it's that way with any instrument, is muscle memory.
It is.
And you're
muscle
training
memory.
those hands and
Yeah.
fingers to do what they do. But after about 3 years, I found myself at a local jam. I think they called that place Hubcaps or something, a little old hole in the wall store outside of Cherryville. And then I began to know people. But I remember that first time that I played a song
Right.
with the rest of the instruments, and man, it was good.
That sold you right then,
Oh
didn't it?
yeah. That's where, at that point in my life, is when it really took off. And
Do you remember what the song was that you played?
I don't. I'm sure it was some old standard. That,
Right.
You know, at that point, I didn't have a whole lot of.
Didn't have a big repertoire.
Right.
That's pretty good. That's
But you know, from that point forward, it was a fire that still burns in me today.
right. So at this point, we're still playing that Gibson that you had?
Yes, that was my dad's banjo. As I said, it was a 1975, I think, RB 250.
Nice banjo, no doubt.
Yep. It's still a low end Gibson, and as I'm getting out and picking with people, this fire starts burning. I want another banjo. I want to step up, and I think at that time I guess I played that 250 through my school years, and the minute I graduated school and got me a job where I had steady income, I went over here to Shelby Jewelry and Loan and ordered me the finest Gibson that you could get at the time was a Earl Scruggs Special.
Yeah.
And I think I had paid, it was something crazy like $5,500 at that time. At that time was a lot.
Yeah.
But I remember telling that at work, and the guys that I was working with harassed me for
I'm
days
sure they did.
how stupid I was.
Mm-hmm.
But those banjos, they didn't make but a handful of them, and when they quit selling them, they were listed, or let's see, I think Janet Davis Music has sold for like $11,500.
It's a great investment.
Absolutely.
And a fine sounding banjo.
Yeah, money couldn't get it though.
Right, exactly.
That's a.
But is that one you probably was getting ready to ask you? That's not something you play out anymore.
Not
either,
anymore.
I know.
At that time, you could see it any weekend right over here at Leatherwoods in Shelby.
Right.
That was it. But as my career progressed, I kept looking on the lookout, and I wanted a pre-war. I just had to have, of course, couldn't afford the original.
Right.
But the conversions was a way. So at that time I had a buddy, Tucker McCandless. He was fixing to move out of town and head to Tennessee, where he was going to pursue his career in music. And he had a early 30s Kel Croydon, which was made by Gibson at that time. Kel Croydon was a toy company. Gibson was in some bad economic times, so they had sold part of their banjo line, which was the low-end banjos, to this toy company. Still made by Gibson, same parts, everything the same. And I helped him. We helped each other because he didn't want to sell it, but he needed the money to make the move. And I wanted that banjo. And I remember I met him in Marion at Hardy's, and we made the deal. I think I paid him something, $3,500 or something. And he cried, shed tears.
I'm sure he did,
Absolutely.
though. I mean, it's hard to part with something like that.
I felt bad for him, but I was so happy I got this banjo.
He was probably shedding tears too.
Exactly, of a different kind.
Exactly.
But that became my hoss, my main player for many years, and I still have it today as well. But from that point on, it's just
So you became a collector at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, that's So did we start looking for tone rings at some point?
Well, there's this mystique with Gibsons along through my career that no matter what pawn shop I would go into, or antique store, or estate auction, you just always looking for that part, that piece, anything to do with the old Gibson stuff. And I picked up a few parts along the way that I'd run across. When the internet come along, man, that made everything easy.
Sure.
Of course, it also drove
prices up. True. Yeah.
But even to this day, I still find myself going through antique malls just looking for that.
I do that with fiddles. Yeah.
Every part and piece,
So, all right. So at this point, are we playing out a lot with people?
I had.
Do you remember the first real band you joined?
I do, and to this day, it was probably one of the more professionally run bands that I was ever part of. It was with Vern Berry, Harold Simpson, Thurman Ramsey. We called ourselves the Dixie Tradition. And,
I know all those guys.
Yeah.
Or knew all those guys.
Right. Well, Vern had a very organized business background, and he run his band that way.
Sure.
Man, I've been in a lot of bands since with great musicians that I always thought if we had somebody that could take this style and this business plan, that
Vern is good at that. I mean, he is. Plus, he sold 1,000 instruments in his day too.
Yeah. And even though musically we was mediocre at best, we had as many gigs or more because of that than any band around.
Right.
And it really made it.
Yeah, I mean, y'all did play a lot.
Yeah.
I knew Vern during those days, so y'all played a lot.
Right. So I don't remember exactly how long that lasted, but I think from there I might have picked up with Mike and Kevin Street at the Far City Boys.
Yeah.
Played with them a year or two. Some of the best music in my career right there.
Some good singing.
I have really been blessed with knowing a lot of and having the opportunity to play with a lot of really good musicians.
The ones you've mentioned so far is a good foundation. I mean, you got a good foundation with Vern, Thurman, and those guys, and then you move to Far City Boys, and then
Right. And then just the amount of musicians around this area was just tremendous at that time.
Yeah.
Just your local jams. I mean, any given Wednesday, there was a place called the Bomb Shelter over in Cherryville. Jack Bingham ran.
Bingham. I guess Jack still runs that thing.
As far as I know, they still do. I hadn't been out there in a long time.
I hadn't been out there in a long time either.
It was a treat. Darren Aldridge was there about every week.
Yeah.
You had Darren and Harold Simpson.
Well,
Doug Rogers. And
yeah.
Just
Now, well, I think I saw early acoustic syndicate up there too.
absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. Steve.
Among plenty of other people that are playing around here still today.
Yeah.
A lot of people have come through there.
Right.
And the music quality was great.
Yeah. And then I had a whole another set of jam friends that I would go to on the weekends up around the Marion Way. You had Jeff Davis, Pee Wee Davis, boy. Gosh, man, there was a bunch of them up there.
You ever been over to the barber shop in Drexel?
I have, but let's see, Old Fort. They used to have a jam up there in the rescue squad that we'd go to. And Johnny Daddle played bass. And, oh gosh, I don't remember who all. Just
it does sound like you've had a lot of got to hear a lot of music.
I was very fortunate to be around this caliber musician.
You know, one of the things I've noticed about you is your timing and meter's pretty good. How'd you get that to happen?
Well,
I mean, I played with a lot of banjo players that can speed things up and all. It starts out fast and continues faster.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it's an easy thing to do. I was told, and I think Ray Allison might have told me this story, that Earl Scruggs and his brother would start in the front of the house picking, and they'd walk around to the back of the house. Well, that whole story there always stuck in my head of how important it was, and Roger was such a good teacher.
Oh yeah, Roger's a fantastic banjo player.
Absolutely.
We'll bring that up. I mean, he really is.
Absolutely,
and his meter is perfect, dead on.
And I guess my sense of timing come back to, like we said before, being able to play with musicians that was already established, and just you always strive to play with people that's better than you.
Oh, that's what you need to do.
Absolutely.
That's how you get better.
Yeah. Yes,
if you're playing with people you're better than, that's where you're going to stay.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%.
Rick Delozier, who's a guitar player, but he taught a ton of guitar players. He told me that if you play the same thing you know, that's what you're going to know.
Yeah.
He said if you don't play anything that pushes you, that's hard for you, you're never going to improve.
Right.
And that's what he always did with his students. And that's true. I mean, if you keep playing with the same people that you're the best guy, that's how good you're going to be.
Yeah.
So you have had good people.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate.
So somewhere at some point you met up with Ray.
Yeah. I guess that goes back when he was playing with what was that band, New River?
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened over here at Leatherwoods in Shelby's, where I got to know him, and I would see him out. We'd play a few jams, but then I don't remember whatever reason he left that band.
Yeah.
And
he's Ray.
Yeah. Well, I guess we started picking on a regular basis.
Right.
And gosh, it's been off and on pretty much 20, 25 years.
Yeah.
And we currently still have a group that we'll get together and go do a show from.
Well, he told me, he's another one that told me about you. You know, I've known Ray a long time too.
Yeah.
So
he's a true friend. He's been awful good to myself and my family.
Plus, he can sing louder than your banjo.
Yeah.
He can sing louder. He's the loudest singer I know.
Yeah. The man's awesome.
He can sing.
He does a lot of stuff I like too.
Yeah.
You know, I cut my teeth on the old Flat and Scruggs and bluegrass album band stuff. My biggest heroes, I guess. But at the same time, he can turn right around and do an awesome job on the Wayland's Jimmy.
Yeah, he can. Ray's that way, and that's, you know, that's part of advancing the music, particularly with banjo. You know, I mean, stuff did happen after Earl Scruggs.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah. Well, and we always said that you need to play to your audience, and so often you'll be around a crowd that don't in particular know bluegrass, but they might know like a Wayland's Jimmy's tune or something, and that involves them and gets their interest in.
Sure. I mean, we're sitting here, and out in the lobby, Darren Aldridge is playing, and Darren told me that he can't play the same old stuff anymore too. You know, that in order to advance new bluegrass, he has to do non-traditional things.
Yeah.
And that's the truth.
Yeah.
It really is.
Well, and if you're not careful, you'll find yourself in a rut where you're playing the same old 13 songs.
Right, and I do think those are great. Those 13 songs are the great songs too. And there's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But it never advances without opening some minds, you know.
Right, exactly.
So it's that's a good thing, and I'm glad that you do that.
Yeah.
So you playing? Is Ray still who you play with?
I'm currently. I guess we've got 3 different groups.
I figured this is
at
where we're going. I knew
time.
you kind of had different things going.
Yeah, but Ray is one that we had a pretty good 4-piece band up until I guess we kind of took a 6 months break or whatever.
Yeah.
But
did you play over there at his house not too long ago? For he have some kind of party over there?
He does. He has a couple.
I was supposed to go over there, but I had something else I had to do.
This last one I didn't make it either. I was playing somewhere else.
I was too. That was right. But the guys I play in the band with were there. So
yeah. So. Oh, I know where it was. I go to a lot of festivals now. This first of last year, we bought us a camper as a family, and, and that's helped. Pave the way for me to be able to go to a lot more festivals, have a place to lay down.
You get to do a lot of jamming at those things?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I spent a ton of time going to, as a fiddler, Galax, Cliff Top, stuff like that.
Right.
So
this music has brought me some of the best friends in the world, and there's a group of us that camp together at these festivals. It's more or less just a fun type band, a party type band. It's
right.
Just, but some of the best people you'll ever get to know. We call ourselves the Rickers Pickers, I guess. And at these festivals, it's known as the jam camp. You know, a lot of people come.
Right.
It's just really, really fun, really good people.
And then I saw you at Ellenborough playing with somebody totally different.
Yep. Now that's a band we've probably been. Actually, it's got started by an Ellenborough Fiddlers Convention year before last. A buddy of mine, Michael Blanton, has a grandson, Xander Smith, that's absolutely going to be already is an awesome mandolin player. And
next generation.
Yeah, that's right. But Michael called me and wanted me to help him with the Fiddlers Convention, and we got together prior to. When we played, we done pretty good, and we decided, let's keep it up. With his daughter, Sarah, is playing bass, and she's fairly new, but timing's impeccable and just coming along good. We're pretty tight. Now we've taken a little break since Christmas through the December holidays.
Sure, everybody kind of has to during that time.
Right, but.
I probably couldn't have got you here if it wasn't this time of day either. You'd probably be off somewhere playing if it was.
Yeah, it stays pretty busy. We call that band the Carolina Mountain Tones.
Okay.
And I look for great things to come out of that. We're doing it right because we're not jumping into it and exposing ourselves out till we get it right. We want it to be right up front. So.
Well, that there again, that's kind of giving back because you do have 2 young people in there. Mm-hmm. And that's how they get their start, is playing with better musicians.
Yeah, I told Michael, we better enjoy it while we can because they're going to leave us one of these days.
Yeah, and that's what you do. That's what you want them to do.
Yeah, right.
So that's I think Darren's probably going to see somebody playing with him probably leave in the next little while.
Yeah.
And that's just that's the way it is. I've seen you playing with members of Acoustic Syndicate.
Yeah. Brian and Steve McMurray, we have, we all live real close together.
Yeah.
And it's the last year or two, we've grown pretty close, and it's almost a weekly event. Of course, Brian's a banjo guru as well.
He is, and his style is totally different too. That's the thing, Cleveland County has some different. They got a lot of banjo players, and a lot of them play a lot of different styles too.
Yeah. Well, Brian and I sit there and play banjos back and forth, and and I invite him up to pickings and jams that I have there at the house, and it don't sound like two banjos because it is completely.
It is two different things, yeah.
And he and I both have the utmost respect for each other's style, but we also agree that it is different.
It is different.
And,
but there's nothing wrong with the difference. I mean, it's both great music.
No, I wish I could do and understand more of what he does, and what Brian does is his own style.
It is. I mean, he has developed that.
Yeah. I think deep down at heart, he's a guitar
player.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's a fantastic guitar player.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm back with Chad. We're in the Earl Scruggs Center out in the lobby. There's bluegrass royalty playing. but we're having that's a good backdrop, but we're having a pretty good conversation here too. It's not every day that you get to sit with excellent local players and talk about how it came about. Now, how many banjos do you own?
Currently, I own 9, and I have one being a custom banjo being built. Should finish up within the next 3-4 weeks.
What kind of banjo is that?
That's going to be a banjo custom built by Tim Smith out of Harrisburg. He's building some wonderful instruments right now. He just got finished up building a neck for Ron Block of Alson Krause. Yeah, and so I'm looking forward to that. He's got his own tone ring that is treated differently than a lot of others, and I've heard and played a few. The opportunity come about. I would not have probably went out and ordered and bought another one because God knows I've got enough. But the opportunity
you never have
about,
enough.
Yeah, he had put a post. He and I are friends on Facebook, and he had put a post out there that if anybody had any Gibson Les Paul guitars that they would like to trade for a custom built banjo, contact him. To do like an even swap deal. Well, it just so happened that I don't know, 3-4 years ago, I had ordered a brand new Gibson Les Paul, and it was just one of those whims because I'm not a guitar player, especially electric, and but I am a lover of wood. I am a sucker for pretty wood.
Sure.
If it's pretty and grainy, I just love it. And I seen this thing. It was bourbon burst, some of the prettiest grain in that maple top you'd ever seen. So I bought it, and it just sat there and collected dust, and it just my heart's in the banjo and bluegrass music, and that's just where it's going to be. And I've come to, no matter how hard I want to do other things, it just.
That's I agree.
So I called him up and told him that I had this 2017 model, and would he be interested? And I sent him pictures, and one thing led to another. He come down and visited, and when you look at what he gets for his banjos versus what I had in that one, it was pretty close. So
And it's a banjo.
Yep, that's right. And I've got the opportunity to go with a torrefied rim and his treated tone ring, mahogany wood, not just mahogany wood, but the resonator is going to be quilted mahogany.
And there's your love for wood coming right back around.
That's right. And if he does anything like I've heard his banjos, I know I'm going to be happy.
That'll be good.
I'm getting excited about that.
I'm sure you are. You want to tell the story about the banjo that Brian McMurray's playing these days?
Okay, yeah. So I've always been a Gibson guru, but Deering has banjos that Jens Kruger helped develop this tone ring, and it's built.
That's the Kruger brothers, right?
Yep,
Okay.
the Kruger brothers. Yep. And this tone ring is built in Switzerland by the oldest bell foundry that is known in the world, I guess. And Jens took his I guess recipe, whatever his method to him, and they analyzed it and come back to him and told him, said, we can build this, but this is basically junk metal. We can improve this and give you by far a better quality in small amounts like this. And of course he said yes and do it, and it come back as the Swiss tone ring. And they're very expensive. If Deering would sell you one, and I'm not sure that they even would.
Right.
It's a $2,500 upgrade to that banjo to have that tone ring.
Yeah, that's an upgrade.
Yeah, but I found this banjo. It's a Deering Saratoga Star. It's part of their Timbrook series that includes this tone ring, and I found it at a pretty good deal. Got it home, got it set up, and man, the ring, and I played it pretty religiously for the past year.
Ring as good as advertised.
Oh wow, it's just absolutely. So Brian comes. He found out about this, and he come up, and he too was just mystified by the sound that comes out of this thing. But there again, his style being different than mine.
Right.
I'm more along the lines of the Earl Scruggs sound, which you get out of maple banjos, right. and he was more along the Bela Fleck tone, right. which you get out of mahogany.
Right.
Well, they offer this same banjo, Deering does, in mahogany that they call the Legacy, and he really wanted one, and man, we just he's an artist for Deering. So.
Yeah, he is. Yes.
But even at that, the price with his discount.
With his discount still unbelievable. Yeah.
Well, it just so happened he and I think we about seen it at about the same time on Banjo Hangout. A guy had one for sale, and it was priced very reasonably. Well, I'm always trading back and forth with banjos, and I had this Earl Scruggs standard that I was going to just sell, get my money back out. So I called this guy up. I said, man, would you be interested in a Earl Scruggs standard? He said, I seen him pictured back for me. Well, yeah. So anyway, one thing led to another, we swapped, and I got that banjo as well. Well, Brian just he nerds out because that's his dream. Yeah. And I told him, well, Brian, I'll sell this banjo to you, and he wound up acquiring that. So he's got one with the same ring.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess he's playing that today as we're speaking it.
Absolutely, very happy with it.
Yeah, that's a great story. Mm-hmm. I mean, see, sometimes you touch people in a musical way that other people don't know about either.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't know stories like this unless they hear them from the people that do that. I mean, people see musicians standing on the stage, and they just have a whole total, I think, different understanding of what it's really like, you know?
Yeah.
So that's a great story. So, well, all right. So what all you got going on here in the future?
Well, Well, like today.
Yeah, well, the other life goes on. I know you got a basketball game to go to.
Yeah, my daughter's playing basketball at 3, but back at Christmas, my wife got me tickets to see Balsam Range and Volume 5 up at Isothermal College tonight. So I'm looking forward to that. Pat Wages is a good friend of mine. Seen him we was at Jam last weekend together, but he plays banjo for Volume 5. Yeah. And I know Aaron Ramsey has joined our group as the mandolin player, so this may be their first gig out. So I'm really looking forward to see how that's going to go.
Balsam Range is a good band, no doubt.
Yeah. Well, other than that,
how many bands are you currently working with?
Well, 3, I guess.
And that's going on in 2020 also, right?
Yeah. We've got next weekend, I'll be playing with the Rickers Pickers up in East Tennessee. We've got 2 shows next Saturday. We're playing at a music store. I think it's in Greenville, Tennessee, somewhere in East Tennessee.
Right.
That at lunchtime, and then we'll be playing at a bar called Baroni's that night. So it's a 2-gig day.
That's great.
When you travel out of town, that's what you try to do.
Yeah, it is.
Getting expenses.
I agree. That's cool.
Got several festivals on the books.
Who is that? Which outfit is that with?
Well, it's not uncommon to have both of them there at the same time.
Well, that's great. Don't pay that. Yeah.
Most likely, the festival bands that I'll be with is the Rickers Pickers.
Right.
It's made up from guys from East Tennessee all the way down to Columbia, South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's good. See, there is bluegrass in South Carolina. People don't believe that, but there is.
This past couple of years, I've got to know a passel of really good pickers out of North Georgia.
Now North Georgia does have bluegrass. I'm not going to knock on them. I might knock on South Carolina a little bit, but I'm not going to say much about North Georgia.
Yeah, and good people, just really good people.
And they got Norman Blake. What can you say?
Yeah.
So, well, I know you're a busy guy, and I do appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to come down and talk banjo with me.
Well, man, I'm glad you had me here.
So
I'll put a plug right quick. Anybody needs banjo set up, I do a lot of that.
All right, we hear that. We're hearing that right here. That's another thing I should have gone into. Several people have told me that you were the man that if you want your banjo set up right, how they get in touch with you.
Well,
you got a Facebook page?
I do have a Facebook page,
okay,
just under my name.
Yeah, that's good. We won't give you a number out. You can contact you through that, and then that way, it's not like you're going to get harassed too much with a Facebook page. Too bad.
Right. So. And I do that out of the love for the instrument. It's not necessarily to make money. I have a day job, so I give people a fair, honest price, and I'll tear them completely down and shine and polish the metal, and set it back up.
That's good.
So far, everybody's been happy.
Well, we'll see if we can get you some banjo set-up business.
Absolutely.
And probably repair business.
Yes, sir.
Like you can tear a banjo up. All right. I do appreciate you being my guest again.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.